Today's episode, we're with Dr. Ashley Campbell, recapping how to go back to basics in a practice. She lost her marketing person early in the year and decided, let's just go internal to build retention through our podcast, through in-office education. This podcast is going to dive deep of how they grew an already wildly successful clinic to a record year based not on external marketing, but focusing on retention and internal marketing.
Welcome, everyone, to UAC's Best Practices Podcast. Our goal here today is to introduce you to a special guest, Dr. Ashley Torchio, and hopefully just share a best practice, a nugget that you can take, implement in your practice, and see the results of that another very successful doctor, actually husband and wife pair, are getting in their practice. I'm here with my special partner in crime, Dr. Alan Minish. So, Doc, why don't you take it away?
Sounds like I come in on the short bus, Brian. This for special partner.
Coming in special.
I have to laugh, Dr. Ashley. We all
I couldn't get the word though.
We all use the wire headphones. Nobody wants the EMF with the.
No, never had them, never do them.
So why don't I just use my computer today?
Yeah, the wireless one. Well, Dr. Ashley Campbell-Torchio and her husband, as Dr. Brian said, practice in Bend, Oregon. How long you guys had that practice for now, Ashley?
This year will be 13 years in September. So we just hit our 12-year mark.
Way to go. And like many UAC members, you guys have built a successful clinic, and now you're kind of on to other acts as well, including, this isn't the best practice, but I just want to mention it with what you guys have developed for patient education. Touch briefly on that. We'll come back to the practice with best practices, but tell everybody about what you guys have built and launched.
Yeah, so it has been cool when you kind of let go of the reins a little bit and just the adjusting part of it, and you bring other people in to take your mission and kind of move it forward. So we brought in multiple associates to start doing a lot of the patient care. And then my husband, Dr. Andrews, started it really is a patient retention driver called Practice Owl. So he just launched that this year. And then on my front, besides homeschooling kids and having babies and doing all that, I also do business coaching for service providers. I do one-on-one, I do group coaching. And then we want to launch something this year, my husband and I, because it's something we had to do together again. We did stuff together, went apart. We like it, but we like coming together and doing stuff again. So
I love it. Yeah. And for those of you who just probably never heard of Patient Owl, Google it, check it out. It's
Practice Owl is cool. It is cool. It's 1 minute snippets in your patient's pocket. It's cool. And
from a very principled chiropractic education, increase retention, help people get the big vision, why this makes sense, not in the short term, but as a lifestyle for the family. So with that said, though, let's talk about best practices. And we were talking before the podcast started, Ashley, and I love the concept. If you go a little deeper, you guys have, like many of us, I think, pressed marketing over the years in all its forms and all its ways, and you kind of took a different approach to it last year. Tell us about it.
Yep. So last year, you always want growth, right? And so we had this number that we've been kind of striving for. And last year we let our marketer go. It wasn't going well. So partway through the year, we let her go and couldn't find the right person, I guess, to take over. So instead of continuing to try to drive in new patients, we're like, let's just take a beat and try to look at all of our retention factors that we have in our office to increase our PVA and keep the people that we have so we don't have to drive those new patients and just keep our in-office stuff working the way that it's working.
Yeah. And so what'd you find happened?
So during that time, we went a couple different things. We rewrote some scripts and made sure that all of our docs were saying things on visit 1 through 13. And then after they had a re-sign, we actually went through the exact same scripts again. People had never heard it. Did that again, 1 through 13 at a re-sign. 1 through 13 just brought those same ideas back around. And it was like they were brand new to people, which is fantastic. It just goes to show how many times you have to say the same thing.
And
right.
That's a nugget right there. I mean, how many I've heard it from my docs, like, well, we did that workshop, or
I did that once.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny.
Keep it simple.
I wonder sometimes when people, we're so deep in the forest sometimes. You think of a patient who's never been to a chiropractor, how they're processing so much. Who are these people? What's this like? This is such a different approach. What are they doing? I think very little of that sticks. And I think you're so smart to just not just double down once, but just to keep circling
The other
back.
thing is the opposite perspective is they are getting bombarded with it every single day, right? And taking them the opposite direction. So sometimes if you were to just say, hey, what's the 13 most important things that if a patient just got these things, they would be a patient for life kind of thing, right? And that's brilliant. And sometimes we try to overcomplicate it, and like Alan said, just assume that they got it the first time, which they don't.
They heard it one time.
Sometimes they do get it. They get it when you say it, right? But they don't retain it. They're not telling other people.
What were a couple of the key things that jumped out to you, Ashley, that you really doubled down on educating people and making sure they heard it over and over again?
Yeah, I think, I was thinking about Brian. I think the cool part about having associates is that we all communicate differently. So even if we have the same talking point, I'll be like, what were you just talking point? Like, what visit number was that? And they'll say it. I was like, oh, that's definitely not how I would say that. The first ones are pretty scripted, but then after that, it's kind of like, how would you take this idea and make it different through whatever? So that is kind of cool because you're right, Brian. Like they might get it one way, but to hear it another way, to double down even on the idea was great. Okay, so some of the things that you talk about. Well, when it comes to chiropractic, I think all of us actually in my heart of hearts, I really believe that our philosophy is really everybody's philosophy. Like I think people actually believe in their heart of hearts that they were made to be healthy, that their body can heal itself, so I think that is real, but I just think they choose the contradiction on the regular only because they hear it so often.
Yeah.
Like the flavor analogy and all those different things, like they know that their body's doing it for a reason, but they've been educated over and over and over again that it's troublesome rather than helpful. So the crazy part is when you say it, they're like, oh yeah, of course. But you say, of course, but yet you choose something else. So
just doing that one thing alone, how much would you say your retention went up?
Just education wise?
Yeah.
So I know our patient visit average, our PVI, I know how much that's gone up even over the last 6 months. And we've increased it by about 15 visits just in the last 60 months. So I took out of it, okay, what if we had the same amount of new patients? What is that? Like I reworked all those numbers. So it's right around 15 visits by just strictly doing that and a couple other things that we did.
What about, you alluded to it when we were talking earlier, podcast. Tell us a little bit about that. What do you guys, how often do you release it? Who's on it? What do you talk about? What have you found maybe works, doesn't work? How do you use it in the clinic, out of the clinic? Just give us all things podcast related that you found.
Yeah. Podcast wise, we all do it. I have one doc that's like pretty hesitant, but he does it. And when he does it, he does great. He just is
it's like a group of you together?
It's a group of us. Every single doc in the office does it. We haven't started inviting in guests yet, but that's our next hope is like we'll bring in people as we become hopefully the authority of health, like for our patients in our community. And we'll talk about our app in a little bit, but as long as we become the authority for them, I want to bring in other people that they can utilize as a resource. But right now, podcasting wise, we only release every other week. I didn't want it to be daunting for my doctors. We're already doing workshops. We're already doing Better Results Faster. We're already doing advanced wellness workshops. So I didn't want it to be more. I just wanted to take the information and recycle it a little differently.
And how long is the podcast?
30 minutes. I try not to go longer than 30 minutes.
And do you kind of have bullet points? Do you script it? How do you prepare it?
Sometimes it's scripted. Sometimes one doc will interview the other, especially if they just taught a class. We'll use it more of like an interview format. And then sometimes if it's a topic where both are very well educated in that topic, we'll just go back and forth.
It's great.
Yeah.
Do you have patients, you're publishing this, or do you find that patients are coming in having seen it? Are they watching it? What kind of engagement are you seeing there from people that are actually in your office?
The cool part is because we're archiving it and we have it available, the cool part is, like if you go into Genesis, when you go into your like practice software and you type in conditions, the cool part is you can target your patients and be like, and the front will do it. They're like, hey, I know that you've been suffering with this. We talk about it. We're at the front. Dr. Andrew and Ashley just did this podcast. I think you should listen to it. I think it'd be super helpful. And that's so it's awesome. Cool because you can use it to target patients that are, they want to ask questions, but sometimes the timing and the pace, they feel like they can't. But I want them to know that we're available with other information.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Any other internal facing things you did last year that you think helped with on the retention side of things that come to mind?
Internal facing. So we did launch Practice Owl in our office. We were a beta office since Andrew developed it. So we're a beta office, but it was so cool. It's so cool to go and look at the metrics and see the patients and how many videos they watched and people that they get it after each adjustment. So it was cool to see that people went in and watched them. Like, you wouldn't believe how many people watched them, like from beginning to end. It's crazy. There's like hundreds of videos. So, I mean, that was wild. And I think that was super helpful. And then we also did our app, and our app has all of our wellness workshops loaded. I didn't have a marketing person. I did hire someone that did AV and could do editing and all of that. And so the cool part is that they're done well.
Instead of putting your workshops on maybe an office YouTube channel, you're having them live inside your app.
Yeah. Great. So then our patients have access to our app, and we're adding on things right now as we speak. So I think eventually there'll be a paid section and there'll be a patient section. Maybe that's my hope, is thinking maybe go that direction.
I mean, all those things point towards people staying longer. The education with Patient Now, podcast, the app, the 100%. Workshops. I mean, it's just 101. But as we've all learned, that social media, it's a hard path to bang out and attract people. And it is just common sense. If you can keep the people that are already there around longer, it's usually a lot more fun and easier road. And it's neat to hear you guys doubling down on that perspective.
Agreed. Yeah, that's good.
Last question, Ashley. We ask everybody who comes on this podcast, UAC, what's been the benefits? How's it added? Why have you been a member for so long? Tell us about that.
Yeah, UAC has been so cool. And this last year, we've been absent for some things just because of the family growing.
Life, yeah. Ashley just had their third baby this last year.
I was like, you're right. Life, it just gets a little wild. But even with that being said, we did make multiple trips and have multiple connections with people in the group. So definitely the friendships have been awesome. We just got together with a family a couple of weeks ago. We all went snowboarding together. They were in Bend. We're going to Florida in the end of January to meet with another family. So that's probably the coolest part, is all the friendships.
Yeah, we haven't released this data yet, but we did our annual metrics on UAC for 2024. And I could be off on this, but I think the average person in UAC said that they had created 11 relationships within UAC that they predict will be lifelong relationships. And so that's what that's about, is getting together and traveling. And so
I agree.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Ashley,
so much,
we love and appreciate
Thanks,
you.
you guys.
Say hi to Dr. Andrew for us. And thanks for coming on.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Have an awesome one. We'll see you.
Right.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye now.